made a lot of relationships that were just toxic in my life, just fall away. But at the same time, it was a maximum security prison, and people were dying every week. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of death.
Pulled away from a lot of relationships that were bad for me. On the other hand, it was a very dangerous jail where people were dying every week. You know what I mean? A lot of people died. Gucci Mane is known as the father of trap music. He is a living hero who built a huge business empire with 72 mixtapes, 12 studio albums, and a reputation that shook the hip-hop world to its core. But there is a much darker truth behind the bling, the bass-heavy songs, and the ice cream face tattoos. He wasn't just well-known, he was infamous. When Gucci walked into courtrooms like they were red carpets or swung pool sticks at entertainers, his name became linked to chaos. People loved his music, but his personal life fell apart in front of everyone. 9 charges and more than 4 years in prison cost a lot of money and time. So what did Gucci Mane really do? How did an Alabama street artist get to the top of the rap game only to get into trouble with the law, become addicted, and have public meltdowns? It's a sad ending for Gucci Mane. Radric Davis was born Gucci Mane on February 12, 1980, in Bessemer, Alabama, a former coal town that is now a neighborhood of Birmingham. He comes from a working-class family with strong military roots. Ralph Dudley was his father. He served in the military and worked at a power plant. His mother, Vicki Jean Davis, taught and helped people in need. There were 2 grandfathers in his family, one served for 12 years and the other in the Korean War. Gucci was born in 1980, 2 years after his parents met. He had an older half-brother and lived with his grandpa on 1017 First Avenue when he was young. The name of the street inspired the name of his record label, 1017 Brick Squad. Notably, Gucci's father ran away to Detroit around the time of his birth to avoid getting in trouble with the law. That's why Gucci took his mother's ass name. He moved to East Atlanta with his mother and brother when he was in the 4th grade. Even though his mother raised him most of the time, Gucci said that his father, whom he often called a hustler and con man, gave him his street smarts. It was his father's idea to give him the nickname Gucci, which came from his love of the Italian brand. Most people in his area called him Black or Ray, which is short for Radric. While he was young, some people called him Little Gucci after his father, but he liked coming up with his own name and didn't like the nickname. Gucci was one of the first brands to join the street scene. He wrote in his book that he sold drugs for the first time when he was a teenager. He began a road that would last for years when he used $50 from his mother for Christmas to buy crack. In 2001, not long after being kicked out of Georgia Perimeter College, he was caught for selling to a police officer who was not supposed to be there. He went to jail for 90 days and was put on probation. As his rap career took off, so did his fame on the street. One of his first and most well-known fights was with Young Jeezy, another Atlanta rapper. Their work together on the song So Icy went bad, which led to the fight. Jeezy thought the song would be on his first album, Let's Get It Thug Motivation 101, but Gucci put it out on his own project, Trap House. Billboard's hip-hop chart had the song So Icy at number 46. Gucci Mane won. The release was his, but Young Jeezy was upset because he said he wasn't paid for his part in the song. Things got tense. Not only was the track getting a lot of attention, but so was the beef between the 2 singers. After a month, Jeezy made things worse by releasing a mean diss track called Stay Strapped. He rapped about putting a $10,000 reward on Gucci's chain, which made it clear that this wasn't just any rap fight. Gucci responded with a diss track called Round 1. This started one of the most famous battles in hip-hop history. In the song, he called Jeezy a fake and said that a full-on war. There was chaos during the attempted robbery. One of the thieves was said to have had brass knuckles with them, and another had a gun. In self-defense, Gucci was able to take away an attacker's weapon and fire, hitting one of them. The rest of them quickly left the scene. The man who was shot was later identified as Henry Lee Clark III, who was also known as Pookie Lock on the streets. He was connected to Young Jeezy, who was Gucci's fierce foe at the time. After some time, Pookie's body was found near a Decatur, Georgia middle school. What began as a fight over music had turned into real violence. Because the case was so serious, Gucci's lawyer wouldn't let him talk about it in public. But behind the scenes, Gucci said he thought he had been set up. He said that the woman he was visiting had set a trap for him, and police say they have a witness who saw the guys enter the house. Later, even the woman said she had something to do with setting everything up. The killing wasn't just about keeping people alive. In a matter of seconds, it changed Gucci's life in a way that put his freedom, job, and legacy at risk. As rumors spread, many people thought the attack had something to do with his growing feud with Jeezy. Gucci thought Jeezy had a reason. The fight was no longer just about music, it was now a matter of life and death. In a short chat afterward, Gucci summed it up. "I'm on my own, he's important. What the hell are you angry at me about?" After the fact, one of the guys who was with Gucci Mane the night of the famous shooting told No Jumper what he thought happened. He said that something was wrong with the whole situation from the beginning. She had insisted on stopping at a gas station before getting to the woman's house. Both men thought she was acting strangely, but they ignored their doubts. Things quickly got worse when they got to her house, which was only 2 blocks from the gas station. They had just started to settle in when several guys rushed into the house. One of the attackers hit Gucci's friend right away, and there was a fight. Among the chaos, someone yelled, "Shoot him!" The gunfire then broke out, sending the invaders running away. After that, Gucci Mane talked about what happened in a phone conversation from jail. He admitted that night that he was scared and still felt bad about what happened. However, he thought he had no choice at the time. "He told me that someone had tried to kill me. I did what I needed to do, was self-defense." On May 24th, Gucci Mane made a $100,000 bond in connection with the fatal shooting. But in July 2005, just 2 months later, he was back in jail, this time in Miami. The new charge was attack with a weapon. There were stories that a club promoter went to see Gucci's record label, Big Cat Records, and the two got into a fight. The promoter said that Gucci hit him with a pool stick after he turned his back and kept hitting him even after he went down. Even though Gucci's lawyer said he wasn't involved, the rapper pleaded not guilty in the end. For aggravated assault with a weapon, he was found guilty and given a 6-month prison term. He was also put on probation for 6.5 years. Besides that, he agreed to pay about $3,000 in the promoter's hospital bills. While Gucci was in jail for that case, he got news that changed everything. In January 2006, the murder charge against Pookie Lock was finally dropped because it was ruled an act of self-defense. Someone who saw what happened agreed with Gucci's account, and it was said that the building's landlord had seen the whole thing happen. Giuseppe Mene was finally free after the case was over. The murder case not only made news, but it also completely changed Gucci Mane's image. People on the street and in the hip-hop business saw him as more than just a rapper. People now saw him as a real thug who could rap. Even though things were tense, Gucci and Young Jeezy kept quiet for... In it, he talked about what happened in 2005 and sparked up his fight with Jeezy again. In 2007, Gucci got in trouble with the law again. He was charged with robbing a close friend after a night out. The police report says that things between Gucci and the alleged victim, Mr. White, got worse earlier that day before a show. When the show was over, there was a fight. Mr. White had to take a $200 taxi from Columbus, Georgia, back to Atlanta because of this. Mr. White said Gucci came to his house the next day. He was expecting to be told sorry, but instead he saw a gun. He said Gucci told him not to cross him again, demanded his money, and drove off in his famous white Hummer with $400 in cash. Then, in September 2008, Gucci was caught again. This time, it was because he didn't do the 600 hours of community service that the court ordered him to do after being convicted of attack in 2005. He only did 25 of them. He was sent back to Fulton County Jail for 6 months because of the violation. He was still in jail in March 2009. Judge John Gower said Gucci wasn't a good choice for probation based on his records. Because of this, 1 year of his 3.5-year suspension was taken away. He would now have to go to jail and do that time. When the judge found out that Gucci Mane had only done 25 of the 600 hours of community service that the court had ordered, he decided to take away some of his probation. To make things even worse, authorities said Gucci had broken the rules of his probation by drinking and using drugs, something he admitted. Before the ruling, Gucci tried to say that he had done community service by talking to kids in schools and going to community events, but those stops hadn't been legally recorded. He said sorry to the judge and promised to never come back to court again. That promise didn't hold up, though. Gucci was given a chance to keep their license in 2006, but they didn't take it. In July 2009, he was caught again in Henry County, this time for having drugs on him, driving while impaired, and having a gun on him while in prison. In November 2009, Gucci was back in court for broken his probation again. He left this time in handcuffs and would not be seen again until May 2010. His first album on a big label, The State vs. Radrick Davis, came out on December 8th through Warner Brothers Records while he was in jail. Gucci got into more trouble with the law just a few months after getting his freedom back in late 2010. A police officer who wasn't on duty saw a white Hummer driving badly on Northside Drive. When the police got there, they saw Gucci and another guy fighting outside of a body shop. Even though cops tried to calm things down, Gucci ignored them and punched the man he was fighting with, which got him arrested again. Police put Gucci Mane down with pepper spray, and then they arrested him and booked him on a number of charges. He was charged with blocking the road, driving recklessly, not having a license, running a red light, not staying in his lane, and even driving on the wrong side of the road. Even though the charges were dropped in the end, the event seriously threatened his probation. In court, Gucci's lawyers used a special plea of mental incompetence to say that he wasn't mentally healthy enough to stand trial or face the prosecutors. Gucci Mane used the fallout as a turning point, even though it was a mess. While he was still in jail, he sent a message to his friends, thanking them for their support, and thought about his trip. He admitted that he did things wrong that got him sent to jail, but he stressed how much he had grown while he was there. Gucci said he was deep in thought, wanted to change, and wanted to be a better example. His arrest came at a very bad time, right before the release of his first album on a big label. It hurt to miss that important goal, but it made him more determined not to make the same mistakes again. As soon as just a few weeks later, in January 2011, things got worse for Gucci in court. The Fulton County Superior Court told him to get a psychiatric exam. A judge ordered that Gucci Mane be sent to the 111-bed Anchor Hospital, which is a psychiatric and chemical dependency center. There, he would be tested to see how mentally stable he is. Not long after he got out of jail, Gucci was in the news again, not for one more arrest, but for a brave choice I made. He showed up with a big ice cream cone tattoo on his face. At the time, Gucci said that the tattoo showed how cold he was toward life. In a radio appearance years later, he said he felt bad about the move. He said he wasn't in a good mental state and that getting the tattoo was something he did on the spur of the moment during a tough time in his life. In April 2011, Gucci Mane was caught while meeting with his parole officer to talk about a disturbing event that he said happened in January a few months before. Diana Graham was at the center of the case. She said she met Gucci outside of the South DeKalb Mall while she was waiting for a beauty supply shop to open. She said Gucci pulled up in a white Hummer, introduced himself, and asked her to join him for breakfast. She agreed, but she had no idea what would happen next. As they were driving, Gucci is said to have gone off the planned path, leaving the highway and going toward a hotel. Gucci allegedly offered her $150 to go with him. When she asked where they were going, she said no and asked to be taken back to the mall. Things went from peaceful to angry instead. Police say that Gucci reached over, opened the passenger door, and pushed her out of the car while it was still going along Brandon Road. The woman later said that her side and back hurt and were bruised. She was taken to the hospital by emergency services to be checked out. After the QLAI, Gucci Mane was taken to the DeKalb County Jail, and the police confirmed that the event happened on January 28th. Even though Gucci later denied it and tried to play down the situation in public, the legal effects were severe and his freedom was once again at risk. After pleading yes to charges like battery, reckless conduct, and disorderly conduct in September 2011, Gucci Mane was given a 6-month sentence in county jail. Because he was good, he only had to spend 3 months and was let go on December 11th. Diana Graham, the woman who was hit by the moving car, then filed a civil claim and won a settlement worth about $58,000. Soon after, there was another fight, this time with rapper Yo Gotti. Like his previous fight with G-Z, this one started after they worked together on music. Both the Definition of a G mixtape with DJ Drama and the G mixtape with Trapaholics came out in 2012. They were produced by both artists. The partnership did not last long. In October 2012, when Gucci was getting ready to release Trap God on October 17th, a date that was important to his 1017 Brick Squad brand and his Alabama background, things got worse. Yo Gotti was also going to release his own project that day, called CM7 The World Is Ours. In Gucci's eyes, it was an insult. When Yo Gotti heard that Gucci wasn't happy, he tried to make things better by delaying his release for one day. Gucci wasn't happy, though. Soon after, he put out a hate track against Gotti that said, "I used to F with Gotti until he turned into a buster." It was clear after the jab that they were no longer friends. Even though Gotti was upset about Gucci's actions, the damage had already been done. Rumors that Yo Gotti dated Keisha Kawahar in the past made things even worse. She is now married to Gucci Mane and has a child with him. It was at that time that Gucci was struggling with a serious lean addiction and ongoing mental health issues. During it all, he went on one of the most famous Twitter rants in hip-hop history, calling out almost everyone in his group, including Waka F. Gotti says that when Gucci started yelling at him on Twitter, he called him over and over until he finally picked up. But instead of talking about the angry posts on social media, Gucci is said to have accused him of betraying her over both a song remake and the relationship. From what Gotti said, the fight with Keha had already happened by the time Gucci was mad. He said he didn't know how important she was to Gucci and played down any personal ties, saying he didn't know she was more than just a casual partner. Even now, the two rappers are still not getting along. They stay far away from each other, not talking to each other, and holding grudges. Not long after the drama with Yo Gotti, Gucci got into another public fight. This time, it was with Waka Flocka Flame, who used to be his protege and worked with him for a long time. Wakam was signed to Gucci's record label, 1017 Brick Squad, and the two had been friends for years. Things began to fall apart in 2013. Behind the scenes, tensions were building up, and they blew up in public during one of Gucci's famous Twitter rants. He shocked fans when he said Waka was no longer on the label. He called him a selfish little guy and even asked for offers to free him. He replied directly, telling everyone to tell Gucci Mane to SMD. Around a week after the public fight, Waka Flocka did an interview where he said there was no real beef between him and Gucci Mane. He said that they had grown apart because they were now focusing on different jobs and goals. On the surface, it seemed like a polite breakup, but Waka didn't hold back when he went on The Breakfast Club. It seemed to him that Gucci was angry because Waka was becoming more popular. Waka said that Gucci's tone changed when people went on tours, bought expensive cars outright, and spent a lot of money on jewelry that stood out. Waka even said at one point that he wanted to touch Gucci like an adult. For the record, he said he wasn't trying to hurt him, just hit him like a brother. Things got worse after that. Waka said that Gucci was acting like a thug even though he wasn't, saying that he was a person who needed help badly. He said that Gucci was going after everyone who used to be close to him. Waka said the last straw was when Gucci brought up his mother, which was too much. Things got worse very quickly. The next month, Gucci Mane sued Waka and Joshua Antony's mother, Deborah, in federal court. Deborah had been Gucci's manager before. Gucci sued them and said they were guilty of fraud, bribery, theft, and breach of contract. Gucci said that Waka broke his artist contract and that Antony took over his record label 1017 Brick Squad without his approval. The suit asked for millions of dollars in damages. It wasn't just that for Gucci that month either. He was wanted by Atlanta police for arrest in March 2013 after a fight at a Harlem bar. James, a Soldier fan, went up to Gucci's security to ask for a picture. Gucci is said to have hit him in the head with a champagne bottle instead of being nice. James got a deep cut that needed 10 stitches, a concussion, and headaches that won't go away after the attack. He said he was shocked by both Gucci's angry response and the fact that one of Gucci's friends hit him in the face during the chaos. James was hurt and was taken by paramedics to Grady Memorial Hospital where he started to get better. An advertising flyer said that Gucci Mane was at the Harlem Club that night to promote his new mixtape. The night ended with fighting, though, instead of a normal event. People later got in trouble with the law. Gucci had been in more and more trouble with the law over the years, and this event added to his growing list of arrests. In 2011, he was in court on charges of pushing a lady out of a moving car, which was shown on an old video. Lieutenant Jeff Cantan revealed after the nightclub attack that police had a warrant out for Radrick Davis, who goes by This. During the search, a clear bag of marijuana and a loaded .40 caliber handgun were found in his pants pocket. EMS put him to sleep right away and took him to Grady Hospital, where he was charged with several crimes such as disorderly conduct, felony firearm possession, drug possession, and having a concealed weapon without a license. He was taken to the DeKalb County Jail after spending the night being checked out by a psychiatrist. About 2 weeks after he was arrested in September, Gucci Mane was hit with multiple charges, including having a gun while being a convicted felon, being disorderly, carrying a hidden weapon, having marijuana on him, and violating his probation. After that, in November 2013, a federal grand jury charged him with 2 counts of having a gun while being a criminal, which were related to the event on Moorhead Avenue. Just 2 days before, he was involved in a different incident at the office of his lawyer. Police found a loaded .45 Taurus pistol among his things. Gucci said that his lover owned the gun, but she wasn't there at the time. Federal prosecutors finally took up the case, even though no charges were brought right away. Both of the weapons charges against Gucci Mane were brought up in federal court on December 3, 2013. There was a possible 10-year prison term and a $250,000 fine for each count. 5 months were spent in jail while Gucci waited his trial. On May 13, 2014, he pleaded guilty to having a gun while a convicted criminal. U.S. District Judge Steve Jones gave him a 39-month federal prison sentence on August 10th, 2014, and gave him credit for time already spent. Then on September 15th, Gucci got an extra 3 years in Fulton County for the aggravated assault charge linked to the earlier incident in the nightclub with the champagne bottle. Gucci Mane would stay in jail to finish his 39-month federal term. He was finally freed from federal jail on May 26, 2016, and he quickly returned to his place in music. He dropped a new song called First Day Out the Feds just 24 hours after being freed. Fans were shocked by how he changed. He looked much better and like a different man now that he had lost a lot of weight. His first post on social media was a strong, all-caps message telling everyone he was back home and ready to celebrate the beginning of a new life. When Gucci Mane got out of jail in 2016, his fans were shocked at how much he had changed. His weight had dropped from 290 pounds to a slim 190 pounds, which led to a lot of crazy thoughts on social media. A lot of people thought he wasn't the same guy. It was said that the real Gucci Mane had been copied. Other changes that were easy to see added to the plot. His speech, which used to be slurred, was now clear and steady. He had a brand new smile after getting veneers put on his teeth. Fans who had known the artist for a long time were probably most shocked to hear that he was now calm, focused, and even getting married. Later that year, Gucci asked his longtime partner, Keisha Collier, to marry him at an Atlanta Hawks game. The couple's public love made the clone claims stronger, with fans saying the real Gucci would never have behaved in this way. To make things even more confusing, someone pretending to be Gucci tried to make money off of his newfound fame by showing up in videos and making fun of the rapper's new attitude. But Gucci denied the reports. He said in interviews that the change wasn't science fiction, but rather self-discipline. He changed what he ate, started working out, and became very careful about his health. He said, "I ate a lot of cashews, peanuts, apples, sausage, and squash. I also love salmon and chicken. Every day I drink about 120 to 130 ounces of water and write down everything I eat." As of right now, Gucci Mane has not been in trouble with the law. It has been 10 years since his last arrest. The change has been amazing for someone who used to say they loved jail. What